Yo, what is up, guys? It's Pedro here. So the Washington Commanders made even more moves today. Obviously, earlier they signed linebacker Nathan Gary, but they also signed safety Stephen Parker, tight end Eli Wolf, and released a few players. So we're going to talk about that and more in today's video. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe for Washington and NFL content on the road to 9,000 subscribers. So please hit that sub button. Also, check out Real Time Fantasy Sports, link in description. Okay, so we talked about the players they signed, and we're going to go into more detail about those guys in a second. But they also released some players. So they released quarterback Cole Kelly, linebacker Bryce Notary, and guard Tyrese Robinson. So, some not really huge names, but guys that, you thought would possibly make the practice squad. I thought Cole Kelly would. Same thing with Tyrese Robinson and maybe even Bryce Notary. But it is still very, very early. These guys could easily, like you see it all the time, where they release someone and, after an injury or after they, make a spot, those guys will be back on the team. So they still have a chance to make the practice squad. Like this guy, Eli Wolf, he is not making the roster. He is 100% not making the practice squad unless he is, crazy, crazy good. He is solely here because the Commanders have their starting or their top four tight ends out in Logan Thomas, Cole Turner, John Bates, and Sammis Reyes. So they only really had Armani Rogers and Curtis Hodges left. So they need to get someone. So they signed him. He is 100% a camp body. Once maybe a couple of those guys get back, John Bates, Cole Turner, then I think they'll release Eli Wolf and then maybe bring one of these guys back. And same thing with some other positions as well. So, I think one of these guys will be back. I think Cole Kelly is a perfect, practice squad quarterback. I think you need a practice squad quarterback. So I think he'll be back at some point, or at least another quarterback will be back. So they also, they waived wide receiver Jaquez Ezzard with an injury designation. He wasn't making a ton of noise in camp, undrafted free agent. I forgot which college, but he, was pretty good in college. I think he had like a crazy yards per reception stat, was a good returner as well, was, doing some returning, but wasn't going to make the team more likely than not. Maybe the practice squad. Now he's out with an injury, was waived with an injury designation. And I think afterwards, if he doesn't get claimed, I think he goes on IR, but I'm not completely sure about that. You look at Steve, and then let's look into Stephen Parker a little bit. So he's a safety, and you look at his stats. Played in Miami 2014 or 2019, then Dallas, then New York. So definitely familiar with the NFC East. Was pretty good in 2019 with the Dolphins. Played in 14 games, started 4 of them, had 2 interceptions, returned for 34 yards. And then let's see, I'm trying to see some of his stats. So 6'1", 210 pounds, and played college football at Oklahoma. You look at some of the advanced stats, pretty good. Again, very, very small sample size for all of this because he only got targeted 13 times in 2019, but he was pretty solid when he was targeted, allowed a 53.8% completion percentage and an 81 pass rating the last couple of years. Away, even smaller sample size, you really can't take much out of it. But got targeted, and let's say in the last 2 years, got targeted 8 times and only allowed 3 completions. So he's solid in coverage. Let's see as a tackler, though. What's his missed tackling percentage? 0, 0, and 13. Again, small sample size, but I think he's a solid depth piece that, out of all kind of the secondary players they signed, like DeJuan Neal, all those guys, I think he has, whatever the guy Bosby that they signed this past week, I think Stephen Parker has the highest chance of making the roster out of any of those guys. So, we'll see. Could make the roster, could not as a safety / DB. And we'll see what happens there. And then Eli Wolf, again, strictly a camp body. He's never had a reception in his career. And, 6'4", 238 pounds. And I think he's 24 years old. And played football at Georgia. So I think he's an undrafted free agent out of Georgia. So I think he is strictly a camp body and nothing more than that. So, once one of those tight ends comes back, maybe 2 of them come back, I think they'll release or waive Eli Wolf and maybe bring back one of the players that they released here. So that is definitely something to keep your guys' eye out for. Let me know, out of those 3 players, which player were you kind of most surprised about them getting released? I would say for me, probably Cole Kelly. Again, though, these guys are practice squad guys at best, so it's not super surprising. Also, I will be at training camp tomorrow, so if you guys are there, let's try to meet up. But also, let me know any players you guys want me to watch closely. I'm going to try to do that for sure. Should be fun. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace.